I was able to pay off $43,000 of debt using the exact same framework that I'm going over in this live stream. And all you have to do is find an extra one of these. That's right, $100 in your finances every month. Now, if that sounds impossible, I'm going over the process step by step to help you pay down your debt a little faster, but also maybe just to feel a little more confident within your finances, because it's more than just the debt that you're in to be able to complete this 5-step process. There's more to it than that. So as I'm getting into step one here, I'm going to share my screen. My name's Chris. I've been a corporate accountant for the last 10 plus years. And now I'm a money coach, helping people with their own personal finances. So what I want to do is, here's the debt payment calculator, all right? And technically, this is step number 5, which is kind of funny, but I need to show you this to be able to dangle the carrot out in front of you to show you why finding an extra one of these guys every single month in your finances is so important, okay? So this is the debt payment calculator. What we want to do is, this is the data entry section. So we have our creditor type. So here you can kind of name anything you want: credit card 1, 2, student loan, car loan, okay, whatever you want. The current balances of the loan. Okay, so right now I have examples here totaling $50,000. The interest rates for each of the line items, the minimum payments for each of the line items, and as you can see, that's totaling $620. If you just joined me on the vertical stream, hop over to the other one. I'm going through a debt payment calculator example to help you pay off your debt a little faster by finding an extra one of these guys, $100 in your finances every single month. But first we have to show you why the $100 is so important, okay? So jump on over to the regular live stream. I'm doing a screen share. So after we enter all this input here, we have the monthly payment amount. So in this example, let's assume that we're making just the minimum payments of $620. And down here we have the section where we're actually doing the calculator portion, which is kind of the more exciting piece of this, okay? So the creditor type here, all this stuff stays the same. We have our loan type, we have our balance, the interest paid, the amount of months to pay it off, and the actual debt-free date associated with these, okay? So the difference is, on this section here, we have the interest paid, it's showing us. So in a total of $50,000 of debt, the amount of interest that we're going to be paying is $95,000 if we're just making minimum payments. And if you're watching on the vertical stream, hop over to the main one. I'm doing a screen share of a debt payment calculator example right now, showing you how important an extra $100 is in your finances to be able to apply to your debt. And I'm about to show it right now, so hop over to the other one. So basically, if you have $50,000 of debt and you're just making your minimum payments, again, it's gonna $95,000 of interest. So basically twice the amount of debt that you have, you're gonna be paying in interest. So when you walk around saying like, oh yeah, I have $50,000 in debt, you actually have, $145,000 in debt, because you have the 50 in debt plus the 95 in interest, okay? So, but with the power of one of these guys, the power of $100, let's go and say, instead of our minimum payments of $620, let's say our minimum payment is $720. Sorry, not the minimum payment, but the amount that we're paying is $720. So we're adding an extra $100 to our monthly payments. And as I do that, make sure you check out the interest paid line item down here. It's going to change, and the debt-free date is going to change. So remember, interest is currently at $95,000. Debt-free date is currently at November 2044. I hit enter, and voila, $60,000 of interest gone, just like that, by adding an extra $100 a month. And instead of, I already forgot the date because it was so long, November 2044, you're paying off your debt in February 2035. Now, this is not a magic trick. I can promise you that. This is just you finding an extra one of these, an extra $100 a month in your finances. Now you're like, okay, well, this is great, Chris, but how do I do that? I'm going to be showing you step by step how to do that very, very shortly. But the impact that this has is is tremendous. It's exponential. Okay, it was just an extra $100 a month. Now we can keep going all the way up here. We can add an extra $100 here, and it shaves off another $11,000 of interest and a couple years of being debt free. And we can keep going up and up and up and up and up. But the other thing is that it works the other way. So let's say we go back to $620 of our minimum payments, and let's say maybe you're not as consistent with making your debt payments every single month, right? Maybe 1 month maybe you only do $500 a month, right? So keep an eye on this information down here as well. Remember, interest 95,000, debt-free date November 2044. So if I hit enter, the interest went up like $14,000. The debt-free date went up by 5 years, all because we're not even at the minimum. So your order of operations here, as you're going through your debt to try to pay off your debt a little faster, a little more efficiently, even if you feel like it's impossible, is one, okay, what am I currently doing? Like, am I being consistent with the monthly payments that I have to make? That's step one. And then it's, okay, am I making the minimum? Okay, that's kind of step two. That should be the bare minimum. That's why they call them minimum payments, right? And then step three is, what is it going to incentivize me to pay even more money towards my debt a little fast, to make it happen a little faster? And that's where this calculator comes into play. And at the end of this live stream, I can kind of share with you where exactly you can get it. It's a completely free file, okay? But yeah, so it's, okay, am I being consistent? Am I making the minimum payments? And then can I make a little more payments towards the debt every month? And if you're joining me now just on the vertical stream, make sure to come over and check out the other stream. I'm doing a screen share right now of a debt payment calculator, showing you how to pay off your debt a little faster just by finding some extra money in your finances. It already exists, and I'm gonna prove it to you. So that's kind of the debt payment calculator. Now I'm going to jump over to kind of step one in this process. I skipped around. So what I just showed you was, oh, hold on. Window, thank you. Sorry, I was sharing the wrong thing there. What I just showed you was kind of like the last part of this step, but I had to dangle the carrot out in front of you because a lot of people just get discouraged with steps 1 and 2. So I need to show you, like, wow, finding an extra $100 in our finances every month is critical to paying off my debt faster. Now, here's the process of what we need to do to find the extra $100. So the first thing is, what's up, Nathan? The first thing is this process called the 3-month look back, okay? And basically what we want to do is go back 3 months of our expenses to kind of look at our, historical spending data. Now, a lot of people, I think incorrectly, think that budgeting, once they hear the word budgeting, that is automatically this restrictionary action. That's like, oh, I just have to immediately cut everything I have to cut. And it's just a miserable process for everyone because they think you suck the fun out of your life, right? With this process, we're going to be prioritizing the things that we say matter to us the most. Okay, so that's why this process is so important. And this is kind of the modern version of budgeting. So if you're looking at this file here, and if you're joining me on the vertical live stream, come check out the horizontal one. We're doing a screen share here with a budget template that's free for your use. Okay, if you're looking to pay off your debt a little more efficiently or just kind of build up your personal finance. Hey, Nathan, I appreciate that a lot, man. Appreciate you. So the 3-month look back. So we want to prioritize in this exercise our variable expenses. So things like groceries, gas, utilities, right, et cetera. Things that fluctuate every single month. We know what our rent is. We know what our, other fixed expenses. We know what our subscriptions are every single month, right? So we know what those are. Those probably, it's harder for those to change unless we get rid of certain things. But the most part, we have the most kind of flexibility and I would say a misunderstanding around our variable expenses. So that's what we're going to do with this process here. So this column here is the expense category. So again, things like groceries, gas, utilities, okay? And this you can customize for yourself, however everyone's got different variable expense categories, right? And then you want to look at the last 3 months, however you spend money. So credit card, debit card, cash. Cash is a little harder to go back and do this process, but it's still worth, at least doing the best that you can for this process, because we're just trying to get a good amount of data for our spending habits, because this is going to be key moving forward into the next couple steps of this process. So let's just take groceries, for example, right? We go through, it's like, okay, month one, I spent $687. The next month, $871. The next month, $712, right? And it brings us to a total here, or an average of $757. Okay, great. So we do that for all of our processes. We go through bank statements, credit card statements. Again, however we're spending money, we want to document this and kind of summarize all of it into the variable expense category. So we do that for all the categories. We get the average actual, and then we need to stop and pause. And we need to say, okay, what amounts of these are we surprised to see? Like, are we spending too much in a certain category? Are we spending too little in a certain category? And that's where the next kind of step in this process comes in, where it's called the North Star goals, okay? And what I want you to do is write down a list of a few things in your life that matter to you the absolute most. So it could be something that is currently happening. It could be something that you would like to happen in the future. So think, a list of your top 5, 10 most important things in your life. Because what we want to do with that list is the list that tells us, okay, these are the most important things in our life. So I want to prioritize not just my money around these things, not just my finances around these things. It's everything. It's like I want to prioritize the time that I'm spending on these things. I want to prioritize the effort that I'm putting into these things, the sacrifices that I'm making to make these things happen, or to continue to do these things, right? So it's not just money. And then all of our decisions, including our money decisions, are going to go through these North Star goals. And what's really exciting is, like, when you put it through the filter of the North Star goals, if these things, if something new that you put into the filter makes a North Star goal happen, or it like keeps you on track to do it, then obviously we want to do that thing, right? But if it's like a neutral towards a North Star goal or a negative towards a North Star goal, maybe we need to reconsider doing that thing, right? So it's just a good way to filter. Again, it's not just money. So for example, like I have 2 kids, right? So I would have a lot of stuff on that list about my 2 kids, just, so I would also have like fitness is very important to me. Making content for all of you guys is very important to me. So like things like that, there'd just be like non-negotiables on here. And that's how I would kind of think about it. So maybe if you're kind of been stuck in your finances for a little bit, maybe just take a step back and be like, hey, what's actually important to me? And then how do I optimize everything in my life to reach those things? So if you clicked on this video, it's probably because maybe you have debt and you're trying to work on paying it off, or maybe you're trying to save a little extra money, or maybe you're just trying to wrap your head around how to take a positive step forward in your finances, right? So if you're doing any of that, if you watch this video, the North Star goals, I think, is a great kind of step in the process. And I'm actually doing a screen share over on I'm doing another live stream, guys. So I got a vertical one and a horizontal one. So if you're on the vertical one right now, come over to this one. We're doing a screen share. It's a budget template that I created for all you guys. It's going to be completely free at the end of this live stream. I'll show you exactly how you can get it. So after we have the North Star goals, and after we have our average actual 3-month look back for our now that we know what we have been spending money on, and now we know what our North Star goals are, how do we readjust our budget going forward to, kind of merge everything together? So let's use a couple examples here. So I mentioned a couple before. So let's start with health and fitness, because again, a lot of people, when they think about budgeting, they think it's a negative action. So I'm here to tell you that after you go through this 3-month look back and you go through your North Star goals, it's very possible that something on your list you're going to realize you you don't spend enough money in. So for example, I said like one of my North Star goals would be something around fitness, right? In health and fitness. And just based on this budget these are just made up numbers, but let's say this is my budget, and health and fitness for the last 3 months, I only spent $63. And I'm like, I only spent $63, but this thing on my North Star goal list is telling me it's one of the most important things in my life right now, right? So it's like, oh wow, maybe I need to be spending more in this category, and I can just kind of trim around the fat of stuff that is less important in my life a little later on in the process, right? So it's like, okay, well, instead of $63, maybe I take, I don't know, another class at the gym, or I do more supplement stuff, whatever, right? And it's like, okay, instead of $63 a month, I need to budget for like $100, because this is a very important thing to me. I want to, $100 a month towards my health and fitness. It's on my North Star goal list. Okay, great. And then you can look at it the other way too. So, by the way, when I coach people in their personal finances, in my free personal finance community, which I'll go over in a second, the number one category where people are like shocked that they spent all this money in is, you guessed it, dining out, food delivery, restaurants, all that good stuff. They're like, wow, I can't believe I spent this much money. And it's hard. It kind of just sneaks up on you, right? Because I don't even know what I did yesterday. And we're supposed to, if you're not budgeting your finances, we're just supposed to remember that the things that we bought 30 days ago, right? It's impossible. So all these little things add up. A $12, I don't know, Wendy's, a $30 thing, a 40, right? They all just kind of add up. And at the end of the month, you're like sitting there like, wow, I can't believe it. So just an FYI, if you're watching this and you're wondering like, where can I look at first to maybe see like if I'm, quote, overspending, I would look in this category first. But let's say that this is your budget here, and for the 3 months you're averaging $257 a month in dining out, food delivery, etc. And you're like, ooh, wow, that was higher than expected. It's like, okay, so convenient food delivery is not it's not one of my North Star goals. So instead, I'm just going to I'm going to reduce that on my budget to say $150. And then kind of in line with that, it's like, well, if I'm spending less on dining out, that means I have meals that I need to kind of replace. So it's like, okay, let's go to the grocery section. I was spending $750. Now let's bump it up to $825, because again, I'm going to need to supplement some more meals in place of the dining out. So it's just kind of this game of like, how do I readjust everything based on the North Star goals and my previous spending? So the whole kind of point of this file, it's my fat head blocking it a little bit, but you'll get the point. This column here, column I, it's showing us, so everything that's in red, it means that our new budget amount is larger than our actual budget amount for the last 3 months. And anything that's green means that it's lower than our 3-month look back average. Okay, so what we want to do is we total everything up here, and as you can see, just by going through this process, this fake example, right, we were able to find $142 in the process. Which is really cool, right? Again, it's money that's in the finances, and if you're just joining me, I'm talking about how to pay off our debt a little more efficiently just by finding an extra one of these, at least one of these $100 bills, okay, in our finances. It's there. And this is obviously just an example, but in this example, we found $142 to hopefully apply towards a financial goal. Now, again, this isn't real money yet, because we haven't like gone through the process of actually going through a month with our new budget amount, but it is kind of cool once you see like, oh wow, once you align your spending to important things in your life, like very cool things happen. So before we go to the next process here, I want to share that I have the free personal finance community. It's called Dollar Discipline University, And the link and everything is down in the description of this video if you want to go check it out. But basically in here, I'm using my experience as a corporate accountant for the last, oh God, it's gonna make me sound old, but like 10, 15 years. And I went through my own personal finance challenges, I guess you would call them. My wife and I paid off $43,000 of debt in 13 months. And now basically everything in this community is it's basically the process that how my wife and I did it, along with like, again, my accounting background to try everything sort of combined, helping people. So everything in this community is free, including my time. So actually for all new members, I am doing free strategy calls for anyone that joins. And it's just a 30-minute call just to introduce ourselves, kind of figure out where you are now in your personal finance process, and then where you want to go. And then, I see it as my responsibility to help fill the gap of like, how are we getting from point A to point B? So really exciting here, but one of the members in this community who I've been helping for a little bit, he just posted a really cool win and he just wanted to share it. So I thought I'd just share it here. So this is from Liam, who's in my free personal finance community. And he said, before starting with Chris and his program, I was severely stressed and living paycheck to paycheck. That's when I found Chris on TikTok and reached out hoping for a change or at least an outside opinion. I was a little concerned about starting because that meant having to stop running from my financial issues and actually lean in. But Chris helped me break it down into smaller steps and see the easiest places to start. I was afraid of the amount of ownership I would have to take in my debts, but I was tired of the stress, the anxiety of bills, and not knowing what would come around the bend. But Chris started slow with me. He helped me see my bad habits and places I could rein in my spending. In doing so, he gave me the confidence to take control of my finances and in turn my life. It's still a long road ahead, but I feel that I'm on my way to financial security and success with the help and knowledge Chris has given me. I'm a little less stressed out from bills and rent because I have a small amount of savings for emergencies. I'm excited to continue my work with Chris and get even more financially independent. Now, the part that was really, really cool here was he just kind of drew a line in the sand, and he's like, he was tired of the month-to-month struggle of living paycheck to paycheck and not really knowing why, even though deep down he knew that he needed to take a little more ownership, and he admitted that here. And I think this is very common with people in personal finances, where they think it's like looking over a cliff and they're like, wow, I'm not going to jump. I can't jump, because you just get too nervous. But like once you jump, you realize that the cliff, it was actually like just 3 inches off the ground and it was a lot closer. I like to think of it as like, because both ways are hard. So trying to make a change in your personal finances is hard because it's scary, it's new, it's whatever. But so is living paycheck to paycheck again and again and again and again, right? So I like to think about it like this. You're walking down this path and it splits into 2 roads. The left road brings you back, it's doing the same thing. It brings you back month after month after month. It's just a big, like, think of like a high school track, right? You're going around it and you keep getting to the fork in the road, and then you choose to go around the high school track again. Or you can go right, and the right, it looks steep in the beginning, but then once you get up to the top, the view's a lot better. But what I don't like to see is when people keep choosing the loop of like the high school track as like their decision to move forward in like what they're going to do in their personal finances. It's like, do I keep doing the same thing or do I try something new? So that's what I really like to try and do inside the free personal finance community that I have here. Again, the link is down in the description. Free strategy calls for any new member that joins. So come check that out if you're interested. But let's move back to the budget template. So after we have our North Star goals, the 3-month look back process is done. We've found a new budget amount. If you're just joining me now in the vertical stream, come on over to the other stream, the horizontal stream. I've got I'm screen sharing right now, the budget template. And I'm assuming if you clicked on this video or have still been watching for a little bit, it's because you're trying to maybe pay off your debt a little more efficiently. Maybe you're trying to save more money, or maybe you're just trying to get a better foundation for your personal finances. So once we have the $142 for this example, we found money doing this 3-month look back process. Now we need to look at the actual budget template. I'm going to make this a little smaller for the screen share here. No, that's fine. That's fine. So how this works, this budgeting template is based on a strategy called zero-based budgeting. What this means is that every dollar that comes into your bank account every single month already is accounted for when it comes to your personal finances. So like how I like to think about this is, surely you've gone to like a concert or a sporting event at like a big venue, right? And you go there and you have a ticket, which means that you are assigned a seat. So what I want you to do is think about your finances as like the arena, okay? And your ticket is $1, let's say, of all the income that you make. And you walk in, you do the ticket, you find your seat, I don't know, 217J, right? That's your seat. And that's where $1 sits. And then, okay, 218J, boom, another dollar. So this is like basically trying to plan the money that that's coming in. If you have variable income, there's a way around that, and we'll talk about that in a second. But if you have fixed income, you know how much you're going to make every month. And then from that dollar amount, we need to exactly budget that amount. So as you can see on the screen here, and if you're just kind of joining me on the vertical stream, I'm screen sharing over on the horizontal screen. So if you're interested, come check out that live stream. So basically, our budget amount can't exceed or can't be more than the money that we make, right? So every month we can't spend more than we make. It's logic, right? So in this example, this is something that you would do at before the beginning of the month. So I'm streaming this May 29th, right? So maybe let's call this our June kind of budget, right? So we're expecting to make $7,000 a month, okay, in the next month in June, right? So we have the 4 paychecks here. And I'm not gonna make this a full tutorial, but we have different sections here that kind of add up in totality, and we can kind of see how everything is. So we have fixed expenses, so things like your mortgage or your rent, or maybe your cell phone or internet, a cable streaming bill, etc. We have variable expenses, which we just went over when we did the 3-month look back tab. And all of that data actually carries over, which makes this file very cool. So you enter the data once, and our new budget amount flows into our new budget, right? It's very exciting. We have a financial goals section, so think things like emergency fund, maybe retirement, or if you have kids, like a future child education. And then over here, I've singled out debt, because for me, I think debt is the single most important thing that someone can do, is get rid of the debt first before they really focus too strongly on other financial goals. I'll say, this isn't me saying only do debt until your debt's gone, because I realize that people have a lot of debt, and it might be unrealistic to say like, oh, hey, you can't, save for retirement until your debt. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but you do have to look at it like, okay, the interest rate on both sides, right? Because I don't talk about investing on this channel really, but with investing, there's obviously like an interest rate that you're getting, right? Depending on what you're investing in. Same thing with debt, but the debt is a little more fixed, right? Where we know what the interest rate is. So if your interest rates on credit cards are 29%, and you're sitting there and you're investing in this thing that's making you 5 or 6% or something like that, it's like obviously the optimized thing to do. Debt, income, savings. Yeah, I like that. Oh, debt, I see. Debt, income, savings, investments. Yeah. No, I like that. Is that what worked for you, Grub Army? So you have to look at it as like a math equation. If your debt interest rate is way higher than anything you could do with like any other positive returns, just get rid of the debt, please. Just get rid of the freaking debt. And that's what I kind of, that's why I'm making these videos. That's why I do these live streams. I'm trying to give you guys some tactics maybe, or some different ways to think about paying off our debt a little faster, a little more efficiently. So like, how do we find that extra money? Well, we have to budget our finances. I'm just gonna take a quick drink here. Yeah, so in this file that I'm doing over in the other live stream, so if you're in the vertical, come check that out. But basically this just gives you kind of a quick top-down view of like, okay, here's how much money I'm bringing in this month. Here's how much is remaining to budget, which is taking your total income minus everything that you've budgeted for. It's taking your leftover money and meaning like how much more money do you have to spend. So once you start spending actual money in the month, that's when you would start adding to this debt payment, this budget template. So like once you pay your mortgage or rent or whatever, boom, the amount goes here. You pay your cell phone, okay? You pay your utilities, you add it to the actual. Debt-free, Grub Army, I love to hear that. Yeah, let's go. Nice. Yeah, no, that's a solid strategy. Hey, Steve, how are you? Because you wanted to be here. I love that. I wanted you here too. So I'm doing a screen share over on I'm doing 2 live streams on the sort of horizontal live stream, doing a screen share of a budget template. And we're talking about how to pay off our debt a little more efficiently. We're trying to find an extra one of these guys, $100 bills in our finances every single month to be able to pay off the debt a little more efficiently. And I'll go over that process again, actually, because I did that right in the beginning. So in a couple minutes, I'll show you why it's so important to find an extra $100 in our finances to be able to pay off our debt faster. So yeah, this is the template that I use and I share with people in my free personal finance community. And this is actually where you're going to receive. This is where you can get free access to these templates, the budget template and the debt payment calculator. There's also a net worth calculator and an emergency fund calculator as well. So all those tools are free inside of my free personal finance community, Dollar Discipline University. So I'm going to go back to the debt payment calculator. And I'm going to show you why we do that entire budgeting process, why we do the 3-month look back, why we write down a list of our North Star goals, and why we try to filter all of our life decisions through those North Star goals. It's because of this that I'm going to show you again. I did go over this slightly in the beginning, but just in case you weren't here for it. And if you're watching this on the vertical stream, come check out the horizontal. I'm doing a screen share over here. So this is the debt payment calculator. And as you can see, we have different loan types. We have credit card 1, 2, student loan, car loan. We have our current balances. It's totaling $50,000. And interest rate percentage for each of the line items. We have minimum payments totaling $620. Okay. So let's assume that you're making minimum payments on your debt right now. So we scroll down to the bottom, and this section looks a little different, right? So we have our information that we entered, so the creditor type and the original balance. Okay, but now it's showing us, based on the information we added above, it's showing us the interest paid for each of the line items. And this is where it can kind of get a little messy, kind of gross. This is the number of months it's going to take to pay off each of the line items, and then the date that's associated with each of the line items. So as you can see, by just paying the minimum payments are $620 a month for $50,000 in debt, we're going to be adding $95,000 of interest by only paying the minimum, and our debt-free date is essentially in 20 years from now. Okay, and that's not great. If we have $50,000 and we're serious about trying to pay it off a little more efficiently, 20 years is just, it's not acceptable. It's just not. And also, because, when I work with people in their personal finances, they and unknowingly, this isn't like a fault or anything, but they come and they say, okay, I have $50,000 in debt, and they're like, they walk around, they're like, yeah, I have $50,000 in debt, okay, but they're forgetting about the part of the all the interest that they are going to have to owe on all of that debt. So in this case, if we have $50,000 in debt, the potential interest is like $95,000, and that's if we make only minimum payments. Now, the power of $100 is so important, and it's a framework that I like to teach and share. If we just add an extra $100 to this process, and then we look down here, and we can see the interest and the debt-free date change as soon as I hit enter. Boom. So it went from $95,000 of interest to 34. So we saved $60,000 of interest just by adding an extra $100 to our debt payments every single month. Now there's two different strategies. There's the debt snowball method, which we would rank our debts in order of smallest balance to highest balance, smallest balance to highest balance. And the benefit here is that you're going to see quick wins. So maybe if you haven't really built up the habit of doing the personal finance thing or being consistent with monthly debt payments, the snowball method is probably the better one for you, just to kind of get in the habit, and you'll see debts kind of fall off faster this way because you're paying off the smallest one first. So if I switch this here, in this debt payment calculator, you can switch the strategy. And as you can see, it kind of switched around which loan to pay off first. So this calculator is showing us, hey, which loan should we be prioritizing first? Okay. And then the other one is the debt avalanche method. And here we're going to be paying off our debt, prioritizing the highest interest rate all the way down to the lowest interest rate. So with this one, this is going to be the most cost efficient because we're paying off the highest interest rate, right? And interest is the killer when it comes to debt. So those are kind of the two. Both are fine. When my wife and I paid off $43,000 of debt in the 13 months, we used the debt snowball method. And honestly, we didn't know that that's what we were doing. But unfortunately, we had 12 loans, 12 loans. And I think it was like 4 or 5 of them were $1,200 or less. And we're like, it would be great if we could just eliminate this batch of loans, right? We could just get rid of a good chunk of loans. And that's kind of essentially what we did. So we just paid off the smallest ones. We got rid of those. And then all the money that we were applying towards those smaller ones, we just kept rolling into the next smallest one. And it truly is a snowball. It's like the amount of money that we were putting towards the last one, the last like couple months, it was insane. Okay. So, but it's very exciting to like kind of see progress and momentum and just kind of stick with the game plan. Yeah, I guess if you're joining me now, like, do you guys have any personal debt? Do you have credit card, student loan, car loan? I don't really talk about mortgage that much because that's a little different. But anyone that's watching now, do you guys have anything? Is there a challenge that you're dealing with? And if you do, again, I'm screen sharing on the we'll call it the horizontal live stream, but I have a free personal finance community. It's called Dollar Discipline University. The link is down in the description of the horizontal live stream, and it's pinned to my channel page as well. Basically, in here, I'm helping people pay off their debt. I'm helping people save more money. I'm helping people just build their personal finance foundation based on my experience as a corporate accountant for the last decade plus, my own experience of paying off a lot of debt as well. So everything in here is kind of tailored to that individual who's just kind of looking, they maybe tried a few things of improving their finances. They maybe tried different strategies or anything else. They're just looking for an answer. They're trying to figure something out. So that's what I'm helping people with in here. And everything inside this community is completely free, including my time. So I have the tools, I have training, I have resources. I am taking free calls inside the community with people, dealing with them one-on-one. Everything's completely free. I haven't asked anyone for anything. Eventually, this is going to be like a monetized business, but right now I'm just doing it for free. I'm getting feedback from people. Like I just had Liam send me something in today. Tony sent like positive things inside the community about working with me a couple weeks ago. There's a ton in here that I could share with you, but that's what I want to do. I'm just trying to create undeniable proof. So if that's something that you're struggling with, I'd love to see you in there. No, I'm not paying off your debt, Locomotion. That's all you. But I'd love to help you pay it off. But no, I don't. Not gonna be paying off your debt for you. Sorry, my friend. I already paid off enough of mine, so. All right, guys. Well, I do this live stream thing every Thursday night around. Well, I was super late tonight. There was a lot of kid stuff happening, but usually it's around 7:15 p.m. Eastern. So I'd love to hear from you. Like if there's anything that you think you need help with or kind of want some assistance or like questions that you have, let me know. I do these live streams for people like you who are trying to make a change or trying to improve. So if there's anything that you think that could help you, that'd be great. Yeah, the Twinkies. Locomotion, they get you every time, those Twinkies. But yeah, I'm gonna jump off, guys. Again, yeah, every Thursday night I do a live stream, so come on over and hang out and check it out. But until then, I'll see you. I don't know. I'll see you the next time.